Good afternoon, Frank.
Hi.
Obviously, we're in the last 4 days of the transfer window now, thank goodness. In your case, it might be more about which players are leaving the club, be it permanently or on loan. How important is it for you to thin out the squad because you can't keep everyone happy, obviously?
I wouldn't call it thinning out the squad. I'm not sure that's the right term, but we do have a big squad. I'm not interested in getting involved in speculation over the last few days of the window, because what I say now will be speculation. So we'll see how that develops over the next few days. Focused on the game tomorrow, and we'll see what movements there may be.
Regarding ones that you may be willing to leave on loan to get some game time, obviously there's young English players who would like to impress Gareth Southgate before the Euros next summer, the likes of Loftus-Cheek, Tomori, Hudson-Odoi. Would you be willing to see those players go out on loan so they're getting more game time?
With every player in the squad, I think if it's a situation of a loan, you have to consider what's best for the player, what's best for the club first and foremost, and then see how it stacks up. So with all those three players, I would always take those things into consideration, but I haven't got an answer for you on any of those three. I have a good relationship with them all and speak honestly with them. Again, that's one that we will broach player by player over the next few days. Once the window shuts, every player that will be here will be used within our squad, because there's a long season and a lot of competition coming up, and we'll know more on Monday.
Just one final one on the transfer front, because I know you didn't enjoy talking about it, but Antonio Rudiger, is there any latest developments with him?
No more developments.
If we can move on to Mason Mount and how he's sort of coped since Tuesday, because it's not Stuart Pearce in the semi-final of the World Cup, but it's still a tough thing for a young lad to go through. How the rest of the squad rallied around him and kept his chin up?
Well, everybody rallied around Mason as they would any individual in the team. I've been the penalty misser, I've been the one in the squad where somebody else has missed. I think that's standard, and that's how it is. With Mason, I think Mason's biggest disappointment is the feeling that he may have let his teammates or myself or staff down. It's absolutely the opposite. I think what Mason's done since he's got in, the young boy who's been desperate to play for Chelsea in all his young life, and got in and been fantastic for us over the last 18 months, and missing a penalty in a round of the Carabao Cup to get knocked out is par for the course of someone of Mason's young talent that will go on to play in many a game as important, more important, have critical inputs into games, much more important. And I'm not trying to belittle the game, but I'm just talking about how his career is going to go. So he's supported by everybody at the club, and we all move on.
One more, please, Jamie.
Just one final question from me, if you don't mind. Sorry, just one final one. I'm conscious I've already asked you about the handball situation this week, but I'm going to ask you about it again, because we've now had clarification that the Eric Dyer incident last Sunday would still be considered a handball, because as soon as your arm goes above your shoulder, that's automatically a handball. It's in the laws of the game. Do we need to just strip the laws right back and say, was it deliberate? Did you get an advantage from it? Have they become way too complicated now?
I think with handball, unfortunately, you won't be able to distinguish what's deliberate and not. There's a grey area, a natural grey area, and I think that's tough. So I think it's more seeing now how the new, the slight amendment and how the referees put that into practice. We need to give that some time. It felt a healthy change when I read it. And let's see how it works in real time, because it's not also easy for the referees. It's a difficult rule to have a clinical decision on in those sort of in-between moments of natural positions and jumping and all those things. So we'll see.
Hi, Frank.
Hi, John.
How important is this game with Palace, given obviously what happened at West Brom, Tottenham, just to try and kickstart things for you?
It's important, John, but as important as every game is. I know that's slightly a cliched answer, but I think we've started the season here. We've gone and won at Brighton, which was a tough game. I think they've shown that in their form in that game, and since then we lost to the champions with 10 men for 45 minutes when it was 0-0. And then at West Brom, of course, the first 30 minutes, 3 clear mistakes make goals, and normally you lose those games. We managed to get a point. So I think there's certainly some clear perspective needs to go into our first 3 games. But of course we want to win the game against Palace, because we want to win games. We want to find that feeling of win and win and win, which is absolutely capable of this team. But we're absolutely very early on in the season as a group, with players that are now coming fit, of new signings that will be getting more settled every day that we train together and improve together. So I'm not concerned. We will attack the game with confidence and a real desire to win, and that's what we should do with every game.
And for you, obviously on Tuesday night, you had a few words on the touchline with Jose. As a young manager, is that important for you to try and put down a marker to other managers, or is it just your competitive edge?
No, yeah, certainly not a marker. I think on the line, if you look like you are forced and trying to be, I don't know, what might be perceived as arrogant for what that looks like, or trying to portray a character, I think that sometimes could become maybe not real or maybe boring from the outside. I certainly don't do that. I just react as I see fit in the game. In the competitive nature, sometimes you can reflect and go, was that too much or not? That's fine. I don't think people should expect you to play, to not get caught up in the excitement sometimes, and that was just it. It's no big deal.
Just a word about Roy Hodgson. I suspect you'd be fairly happy, wouldn't you, if you still had that competitive edge, that desire for the game, coaching at the age of 72?
Yeah, absolutely. And when I talk about people putting on character or not, Roy has been an incredibly straight down the line manager, person, coach. His career is something that's beyond exceptional. I've got so much respect for Roy Hodgson in the job he does and the way he carries himself. Don't want to preempt it, but there'll be no touchline spats with me and Roy tomorrow because I've got too much respect for him and think he's just brilliant as a man.
And just the normal question about Pulisic, Ziyech. What's the news on there?
Pulisic is in the squad for tomorrow. He won't start the match because of the injury he's had, and it's been a difficult injury. And I am very keen to get him back in there, so it's great to have him back for himself and for the boost I think it gives the team. He's an important player for us. Hakim Ziyech is getting closer but not quite fit enough to be on the bench.
Hi Grant.
Hi.
You've played a lot of centre-backs at your time at Chelsea, and you've played in teams where you've had a solid centre-back pairing that have played for the majority of the season. Is that something, obviously we saw Zuma and Tomori play in the Carabao Cup, is that something you're looking to do, to find someone to play next to Thiago Silva, or do you think you're going to keep chopping and changing?
I think most coaches would tell you in an ideal world that you can find a pretty settled back two. You also need competition through a season that lasts sort of 60 games. There are not many teams that will say this is our back two for the whole of the season. I think it's impossible in the modern day. But you strive for that, and for that you need a consistency in performance, relationships to build through the season. And last year we had to change a lot, and of course this year there'll be times when it changes a lot. I think when you maybe get far down the line in a project, or when you're working with a team and you find that stability in picking the same players very regularly, I think that's when you're in a happy place. But for most managers or teams in a process, which we are, you have to try and strive to find the right solution sometimes, and it means some change. But I trust all the players. We're working together to try and find the best in every area of the pitch, and naturally, as I say, there won't be many teams in the Premier League that probably can say we picked that back four, those back centre backs through a season. It's not really possible.
We spoke about Havertz and Werner. They're the two players we've seen the most in the Premier League this season. A couple of times they've been in their, say, favoured positions. Havertz against West Brom, I thought had a really, really good game. How do you think Ziyech and Pulisic, when they come back in, can affect those players and bring out the best in Havertz and Werner? Yeah,
I think they all will bring out the best in each other. Of course, it's a huge miss for us to not have Christian and Hakim fit at this stage of the season. We're all excited to start. Christian's been here for a year, so he doesn't have that bedding-in process that was part of his early part last year. Hakim is going to bring something completely different for us, and I think they will help complement not just Kai and Timo, but the attacking players that we have, because again we will need to be able to use different players throughout the course of a season. But yeah, I'm very excited to have those players fit. The Timo and Kai don't have necessarily favoured positions themselves, but I have a clear idea of where I want them to play. At the moment, injuries have not made it that possible, and sometimes you have to be adaptable in those difficult times.
Hi Frank, thanks for your time. I just wanted to ask, there were some reports about Marcos Alonso in a half-time sort of dressing down at West Brom. I wondered what you made of that, and I also wanted to know if his long-term future, or Emerson's long-term future, is affected by any situation that might or might not have happened there.
Yeah, I'm not going to disclose what goes on in the dressing room. I think that would be wrong. So that was it. It was a game, obviously, we were disappointed to be 3-0 down at half-time. I had to make changes. And all I ask from all the players is that whatever, for good or for bad, that the players stick together in every moment, because that's the only thing that brings a successful group. So that's as much as I've got to say on it, and it doesn't affect anything ongoing. I don't have, I cannot have grudges or feelings in games that carry on. We work, we're honest with each other, and we carry on working to get better and better, and things happen during the course of the season. They happen a lot.
Hi Frank, I just wanted to ask you about Billy Gilmour. It's been almost sort of 3 months since his surgery. How is he progressing, and do you see him having a key role when he comes back into the side?
Yeah, he's progressing well. It was it was forecast as a 4-month injury when he went into surgery. So, like you say, it's 3 months. We're looking at about 4 weeks from now that he'll be hopefully fit, barring any hiccups. And it's been a difficult injury. So, what I will say is that his attitude and how he approaches everything in his professional life is spot on. So he'll give himself the best chance to be back and as fresh as he can in hopefully 4 weeks. And yeah, he'll be an important member of the squad at that point. We all know his breakthrough last year and what he gave to the group, and we hope to see much more of that.